All right. Hello and welcome everyone to this invitation to talk to the entity. It's sort of an intro, but not really an intro, but it's about talking about entities and uh, a lot that has changed for me and how this class actually creates so dynamically for everyone. So before we get started, do any one of you have any questions? Sabi, do you have any questions?
Yes. So I would like to know how your I had great experience with Talk to Entities, but I would like to know how your journey with Talk to Twenties entities began and what did it shift for you and what can it shift for people in general?
Cool. So yeah, when I got into Access and then when I attended the foundation class, they introduced this topic, talk to the entities, and I was like, oh wow, this looks interesting. What is all this about? And they introduced a very interesting topic known as walk-ins. And but the foundation does not have so much of details about things. And then I really was very curious about a lot of things. So then I was like, the first given chance, I'm going to attend the talk to the entity class. And when I first attended my class, it was with one of the talk to the entity certified facilitators, and something again about walk-ins which showed up. And so I asked her, I said, "Do you think my son is a walk-in? Because he's very different from what he used to be earlier. Like when I had gone for flying, he was about six years old, 6 to 7 years old, and I'd gone to US for about 8 9 months. And but when I came back, he was suddenly a very different child, like from being very, very confident and being very actively participating in sports and everything else. Suddenly he was very timid and shy and he just wouldn't show up and he would be more in the background and I couldn't figure out what was going on. But I was caught up with my own exams and all that. For flying, you need to clear a lot of papers. So I saw that, but I was like, okay, maybe because he had been missing me, that's why he was like that. But when I asked my facilitator that, and also it had been like 4 5 years since I'd come back from my flying. And when I asked my facilitator, I was like, do you think my son ever walk in? How does one get to know? So she just sort of tapped into his space and she's like, does he walk with a slight hunch? Does he is he very mature for his age? And I was like, of course, yes. Like I was like, how the hell do you know? He's like he seems to have invited a an entity of a motherly figure in his space and an elderly motherly figure. And I when I heard that, I was so taken aback, and I was like, oh my god, now what do I do? Like it was such a scary thought, right? Like, what do I do? How do I help my child? And so I came back and I cleared entities from him. And you won't believe what happened. Suddenly, he and my daughter, they were just, literally rolling on the floor, chasing each other, jumping, laughing away. And I kept looking at him. He felt so much lighter, so much better. And my husband is like, what just happened here? Like, what changed? And I was like, I actually just cleared entities from him. And it was really interesting. The immediate transformation was so interesting to see. And I was like, oh my God, I wish I had access to these tools earlier, and so much could have just changed for him. And then I also was aware that he would keep bringing back that entity. So I told him it's a choice. You don't really need to do that. And I gave him also the tools. And then he understood, and then everything was fine. Like he changed again so much. Like he started showing up more dynamically, he started choosing so much more in his life. And I mean, there was an immediate drastic change, which was so interesting. And since then, I was like really, really intrigued by this. And then when Shannon was coming over, she was coming to India to conduct the intro, beginning, intermediate, advanced, as well as the facilitator classes. This was way back in 2015. Okay, and I was like, oh, I'm choosing all the classes, you know. So at that time, I didn't know where I'm going to create the money from and how things will show up. But I was like, I'm just choosing it. There is an energy to these classes and these this, and it has created so much change for me, like for my son. I'm just going to go ahead and explore what else is possible with that. And so one more thing that was happening, I had to go to make the payment, and I was making cash payment to the person who was hosting this. And so a day prior to the class, I was there, and on the Juhu circle, there, you know what eunuchs are? So there was a eunuch over there, okay, who's transgender type. So he was there, and so he was asking for money, and I'm usually very skeptical about them. So I just sort of put on the window just a small amount, so that because I don't want them putting their hands in and touching me on my head and all. So I was trying to give him money, but I couldn't find any change. So meanwhile, he must have seen me rummaging through my bag, but meanwhile, the traffic signal light changed. So I just went a little ahead, which was just literally 500 yards ahead. There was another signal. So I was waiting there, and through the rear view mirror, I saw that guy coming. I'm calling him a guy, but he was in a sari. And then he's like, so I managed to find 100 rupees. So I gave him that. So he was angry. He was like, I want those bigger notes. And he's like, Holi ke liye de do, ye kar do. I said, Holi ke liye nahi koi deta hai. And Holi is 3 weeks away. What are you even asking for? He's like, no, I need that money. You have to give me that. Now he was just staring at me, and I was like, oh my God, what the hell? So throughout, like, I just remember tools from my previous Talk to the Entity class that I attended, and I was like, I'm the most powerful here. In my own mind, I kept saying that. I'm the most powerful here, back off. Okay. And I was very wary of looking into his eyes constantly because I knew he might try to hypnotize or whatever. And I was like, I'm just not choosing this. And I was like, I'm the most powerful here, back off. Whoever you are, whatever energy this is, just back off. And I kept saying, send it all back to the center with consciousness attached. I don't know what all I was saying, but whatever tools I had learned till then, I just used all those possible ones. And then he realized that he can't move any further with me. So you know what he did? He mumbled something and he bit on that note and he pushed it back into the car.
Achha.
And I just shut the window and the traffic signal changed, so I left. So I just picked up that note and put it on the car dashboard. And so I had to buy a big envelope to pay that person, the host. But at the shop, so I tried using that 100 rupee note. They said, sorry, we don't have change. They said, you just take the envelope just like that. So they just gave me that envelope without charging me. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. I'm not able to use this note also. And then anyways, I made the payment and all. And now when I was heading back, I was back to that same traffic signal, but on the opposite side. So there was another unit there and he was asking for money. And I just picked up that same note and I said with consciousness attached so that it doesn't harm him. And I just gave it to him and he took it. And that's it. But now every single day, because the class was at the club, I had to pass by that same traffic signal. And I would see that guy there every time. And so then there was this tool, which is where you make yourself infinite and the car infinite. So I did that. And you won't believe, he would just walk by. He'll stop at every car except for mine. He would just walk past my car. I almost met with an accident because when you make yourself infinite, you're making yourself infinite to other people also. So you have to be very specific, make yourself infinite to this person. And so the next, in fact, 7, 8 days, every day I had to come to the club to attend the class, but it was just so much of ease. So thankfully, I had access to these tools. Otherwise, it could be very intimidating, somebody trying to be this weird energy with you, and you have no idea how to go about it. So it can really, really be very intimidating. What this class does is it empowers you so much. It starts making you so aware of a lot of things. Like you have a choice every single moment. Like nobody can just walk over you. Nobody can just, get away with anything. And also, it's like the entities are not like what they show in movies and they show in web series and all, those scary things, or that the fact that they can do something to you or get inside your body or nothing like that. It is, we end up inviting entities when we are constantly judging ourselves or pulling ourselves down and, self-judgments. or when we are buying into other people's judgments of ours. And especially when we're choosing to be pathetic is when we invite entities into our space. And then there is just like, there are so many different types of entities, how you have to clear each one, how you have to call out to them by their name, and then, for that particular type of entities, like drugs and alcohol, like trickster, prankster, and so on. So many things are there, which is what you'll be learning in this Talk to the Entity class. And I love this class. Like, there's so much it starts creating for us. Even when you're talking about, like the more you, so there's, after you attended the class, there is something known as the business hours that you create,
Right.
which is your time with, you just have to check in with the entities, clear them, communicate with them, receive from them, cooperate from them. These are the four things that you actually always do with entities. So the more you're doing that, they won't be troubling you throughout the day, because now they know this is your business time. You are checking in with them. And most of them just want to be facilitated. Most of them don't even know that they don't have a body anymore. So they're just hanging there, totally lost. So you are now facilitating that level of ease for them. And that gets them to start choosing so much more. They suddenly realize they have a choice. They don't have to be stuck here. They can choose and move on and choose something different for themselves. Now, when you are actually releasing them, when you're actually facilitating them, they just gift to you so dynamically. Either it'll be in the form of money, either it'll be in the form, or it'll be in the form of, just pathways opening up for you. So much just starts showing up for you. There'll be ease in relationships, there'll be ease in with your body, there'll be ease with creation of money, there'll be ease in every aspect of your life. So that's how dynamically they give. So it's not just like, oh, it's one random class that I've attended. It's a class that will continuously keep gifting to you. Because then you can also co-create with entities where certain entities want something out in the world. So when you are asking them, hey, is there anyone looking to co-create with me? They will show up, they'll come up with some ideas that you can actually start expanding or exponentializing and bring it out into the world. There's so much to do with it.
That's a new one. I think I haven't heard about this particular aspect before. I have attended many talk to
So
entities.
there's a specialty, like a Talk to the Entity specialty intros, which is one of them is creating with entities.
Right. In that they have the stock in that. Okay.
And entities is not just entities like beings without bodies. It's like in that particular class, they'll also give an example of a plant. So when you bring in a plant and you're growing the plant, you can be talking to it and you'll see it bloom like anything, especially when you do the receiving exercise with that particular plant. So it's not just entities per se, like not beings without bodies. Your business is your entity. All the other things are also entities. Everything has consciousness. So you're creating with a lot of other things apart from just beings without bodies.
That's
End
amazing.
of the day, you are the source. You don't make them the source. They will cooperate with you. They will help you out, but you are the source. Yeah. So
when we hear about whatever you're speaking, I mean, for example, if there is anyone who has not heard about Talk 20's class, I think it may be so much new that how like their business is an entity, like that's so new. Otherwise, we are limited to the definition of a being without a body and and all other things that the media has sold to us. So there is so much because I have attended, I guess now some 8 or 9 Talk 20's classes I have attended in the last six years, and each one of them had been so different for me. Like there was this one particular time when it was not about entities at all for me. No, it was all about trusting my awareness. And I think on that class, I realized, oh my God, there is so much more that then there is two entities alone. Because they both go hand in hand with trusting your awareness and following your awareness. It was almost like a foundation class for me at one point of time in one of the class. But yeah, it's
so with entities, the thing is, the most important thing that you'll take away would be to trust yourself and to acknowledge that you are the source or whatever's showing up in your life. And when you start choosing more, they just contribute dynamically to you, but you have to keep choosing very dynamically too.
Totally. I think till the time I didn't had this experience about, that we need to trust ourselves. I think it's welcome. So I never knew that. I think with each class, there was a new dimension that was opening up. Though the manual was, of course, the manual shift. There's a new manual. I mean, there's so much that has shifted. I think since 2021, the manual.
Yes.
But I think when you shift and change the very same class, of course, there is no no single class the same. When you repeat them, they are different, of course, because you are changing and everything else in the world is changing and the consciousness itself is shifting and changing every moment. But it was amazing to see how it is related with trusting yourself, trusting your awareness. Because I was under the belief, in fact, the very first time when I heard about this class in Axis. This was the last class that I ever wanted to attend. Me and Mansi, my wife, we both, we never had any thing to do with the entity world or anything. I said, they are good, we are good, let us stay that way. However, I guess we were, because initially we did foundation body class, we were so keen in buying the book. So we also, when I was purchasing this book, I also purchased that opportunities book, just for the sake of it. And Mansi, out of all the books, she ended up reading that, and she couldn't sleep for next 2 days. And that is when we reached out to another facilitator, and we told, what, we read this book, and she's not able to sleep. And I think that's a time when, and she asked us a question: is the entities want, do the entities want you to get ready to contribute to them? Like, that was so new, that entities may also want you to contribute to their world. And I think that's where our journey began, and then there was no looking back. So yeah, it's amazing,
Yeah,
really.
so even frankly, when I got into Access and I was like, okay, all these classes are so expensive. So, I mean, I'll just buy the Dr. PhD book and I'll read it. And what more can there be to that, to
Mm.
this topic, right? And I read that book, but it was so fascinating. It was so intriguing. And I was like, hold on, the book is like this. I wonder what the class would be like. And then when I attended the class, so much shifted and opened up. That thing with my son just changed. And then more and more, and when I kept on attending more and more access classes, and especially the talk to the entities, I kept repeating those classes. I don't know how many times I would have attended this class. Think just every single class was so different, so much more shifted and changed, and so much more receiving. So it's like suddenly you just, you think you know everything there is to know about entities, and then boom, another class comes along, and then you're like, oh, but I never thought of it from this perspective. So there's like, there are these specialty talk to the entity topics, intro topics, which I plan to conduct these classes end of May, like back to back. There are about 10 of them, 10, 12 of them. So I'll be conducting one or two each day. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to those. But one of those was walk-ins and entities. And you know how you're trying to change everything? You're trying to change, let's say, for example, your money reality. And no matter how hard you're trying to change the money reality, it's not changing. It's because maybe there might be a walk-in which has some very strong points of view about money. So till you clear the walk-in, the original
Original
occupant,
occupant.
the original occupant, your point of view about money does not go. So that was something really new to me and that I realized only when I was facilitating that walk-ins and entity class, and I was like, hold on, this is really interesting because you can't change something that doesn't belong to you. Now you are doing all possible clearing, you're trying to change everything, but did you bother clearing your original occupants? So, that was quite an eye-opening information for me. And I was like, oh, hold on, that's really interesting. And then even with money, so this money and entities is also a specialty topic where I remember I attended the class and then suddenly there was, my dad happened to just send me a message that, hey, can you send me your bank details? And I thought he's just very, like, he's from the Air Force and he's very particular about things. And so he knew I'd opened a new bank account. So he may be just wanting those details. I sent it to him, and next day in the morning, I saw 51,000 has been transferred to my account. So I was like, hold on, what just happened here? So I called him up. I said, how come you just transferred 51,000 to my account? He said, well, the person who used to spend all the money is no longer here. So I just had this extra money lying around. I thought I'll send it to you. Now, he just reminded me of my mom who had passed away in 2012. And this incident must have happened maybe in 2015 or 16. Okay, and I was like, this is after 2, 3 years after my mom has passed away. He decided to just send me money like that. But he reminded me of her. And then that same day, my husband was being very extra attentive and, just taking care and all. So I was wondering what's going on. But when I was about to sleep, he's like, are you okay? And I said, yeah, I'm fine. He said, no, it's your mom's birthday today. And I was like, no, my mom's birthday is in August and this is May. So he's like, no, I got a Facebook notification that it's her birthday today. And I was like, I don't think my mom was on Facebook because she passed away in 2012. And around that time, only the Facebook, I think 2010 is when the Facebook was launched, but she wasn't on Facebook. So, but I was really curious and I couldn't sort of sleep that night. And I was like, let me just check. So I checked against her name, like I just typed her name. There were quite a few profiles with the same name, but there was one particular profile um, which did not have any photograph and it had a common friend, which was my husband. Okay. Uh, like common to me and the person's name that I was searching. And that person, that particular profile just had two friends total. One was my husband and one was some foreigner. And I went to that foreigner's profile and I realized it's all in some other language which I don't even understand. And I was like, where would my mom be friends with some foreigner, which is so weird, and my husband also. So it was just like it was very surreal. Like, it was just her reminding me that hey, that money has come from me.
She just
So
wanted you to see.
yeah, it just showed up like that, which is really, really interesting. So you've no idea where the money will show up from, how things will show up, but it does. Like sometimes they make you realize, like my mom sort of made me realize that hold on, I'm the one sending this to you. And so that's how easy it can be. Literally, the money will just show up.
Amazing, amazing. In fact, as you were sharing, I was just thinking what else shifted from me in our life. So perhaps some others may also relate to this. So I had been scared of darkness right from my childhood, all the time. Like I would, and ghost is something that. So I would never watch horror movie. Even I still don't watch. But earlier I would I would purposely even if somebody invites, I would still not go. So one of the thing that shifted to for me after the Talk to Entities class was the fear about ghosts and even dark places. And I think that was absolutely so huge for me. And I never thought that can happen. In fact, it's like ghosts are my friends now. Like, I can just speak to them, have a conversation with them, which I never ever thought can happen because, of course, the perception about the spirits and entities shifted after the class because of the different information that has been shared. I think
Yeah.
this is just
So
for those who feel.
actually, it's like when you are um, basically there's nothing to be scared about. They're just there to contribute to you very dynamically, or basically to be facilitated, or you just receive, or they want to communicate something. And they're not really that scary thing that people make them out to be. They do so much that they just choose to keep gifting to you, not that, so dynamically. And I'll give you one more example. Long back, I had to attend a maestro class, and I did not have enough money for that. And I was like asking everybody, like in the sense, not people as such, because I couldn't ask them, but I was like, okay, all the molecules, elementals, teammates, please contribute to me. I really am choosing this class. Please make it happen. And then it was really interesting what showed up because, of course, a friend just sort of transferred some money just the day I was to leave, and then she transferred another lakh, and I spoke about it quite a few times. But when I went to Rome to pay for the class, they said, okay, we can't take you need to pay only a certain amount and not the full amount. And I was like, hold on, what just happened here? So they said, no, some calls you've been doing earlier and you were part of some international calls. So it's been adjusted against that. But I was like, I never knew I'd be paid for those classes, or I just was participating just for the heck of it. And but on the whole, basically, they didn't charge me the full amount. I had to pay way less than the class amount. And I was like, I knew where this was coming from. And I just literally had so much of gratitude. And I was like, okay, all the elementals, all the entities who have contributed, all my teammates who have contributed, and I acknowledge your presence. I acknowledge this gift. And thank you so much. I'm so grateful because I was just reaching out to whatever I could to be able to choose this class. And that's how dynamically it just starts showing up. So, don't have to sort of hold back or just don't make them the source. I did also whatever I could to make things happen, right? So they are not the source, but they will co-create with you. They will gift you like nobody's business. Yes, Rashi, you have a question?
Hi, Smriti. Hi, Swami. Yeah,
Hi.
that is such a wonderful example you shared. So, my question was you were discussing that you required the money, and that's how you asked for the entities, molecules to contribute to you, and you received the money. So, my question is, can we ask for contribution when we are going through something personal or emotional, nothing to do with money? Can
Yeah,
we talk to the entities? Can we ask entities to contribute there also?
yes, you can. You can. See, don't make them the source. They will just open pathways for you. They'll create that ease in relationships. If there are any relationship issues, they'll suddenly create a lot of ease in relationship. But you can't just sit and say, okay, entities get to work, do this. It's not like that. It's more about uh, literally just putting out that question to the universe, like, what will it take for this to shift and change? And if there are any elementals or any teammates who are looking to contribute, please, I require your contribution. But you need to know that you are the source. So you have to do whatever it takes to create that. Now, generally, like on a day to day life, the more you're spending little time creating those business hours with those entities, the more they will just start automatically things will just, there'll be just a level of ease in your life, in every aspect of your life. There'll be just you'll be surprised that there's just so much of ease with all your creations, with relationships, with your business. Everything is just like seamless and smooth. So that is something you can do. Like you can just start maintaining the business hours with entities, and it can literally be just 3 minutes to 30 minutes to 3 hours, whatever works. For me, my business hours are like from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. because that's when I'm also conducting classes or doing sessions. So more or less once in a while that will start showing up. And anyways, before that, I check in on the entities and I just clear. When I'm going for my walk, I would be like, okay, this particular road, all the drugs and alcohol entities from this road just dissipate, whatever, and I would just do all the clearings. Some random house or building I'll see, I'll just clear entities. So you just have to be present with them and just clear. Just follow your knowing. There is no there's no hard and fast rule. This is the way you have to do it. You just follow your knowing and just get to work.
Okay, my second question is what is this business hours all about? Because I've heard a lot from facilitators, business hours, business hours.
So when you attend the Talk to the Entities intro and beginning class, so that's where they teach you few things. You can either communicate with entities, or you can receive with entities, or you can co-create with them, or cooperate with them, and uh, and you can facilitate them. So that's what starts showing up. So when you've done that, once you've learned everything there is to learn about entities, then you every day have to take out some time. It can be 3 minutes or 30 minutes or more. And maybe you can just be sipping your cup of tea, sitting in the balcony, and you can just clear entities. So clear, communicate, receive, and cooperate. These are the 4 things you end up doing with them. So there are certain days when the entities would want to communicate with you or give you some message, or that message might be for you or for someone else. And you'll start perceiving all of that. Or sometimes you will just know that you need to clear certain entity, or you'll know you have to clear certain entities from a particular house, or one of your relatives or your sibling or your parents or somebody or the other. The more you're doing that, you're creating ease in their life also, and also in your own lives. So that's what business hours are all about. It's you giving them some time every day, and you'll see how your business starts thriving, your relationships start thriving, your body just has so much of ease. It's beautiful.
Can I share
Thank
something?
you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you so much.
So, I mean, on the same note, I think that for me, what I discovered is so we want to contribute to the world, we want to contribute to the people, but there's a different dynamics when we want to contribute to people. Either people want specifically in terms of money or some kind of help that we may not be able to actually provide, or not on a consistent basis. So then we cut off from contributing because it's creating different weird energy. However, after we got to know about the business hours, I think one of the biggest shift that occurred was to know that there's a whole different world out there to whom I can contribute, and without speaking, like with people you have to speak, and there is so many other dynamics that's come into picture. But this has been a very quite amazing contribution that I was able to feel good about, because most of us want to do something good. Fortunately, I'm in this field where we are directly interacting and contributing to people and receiving the contribution from them. But with the Talk to Entities class, this entire different, like, because we got to know that there is, I mean, I don't want to entirely give away with the information, perhaps that can be scary, but there's a whole so much big amount of entities to world that we can contribute, and they are willing to contribute to us. So that has been one of, I mean, as I was just listening to this, I just remembered that, and I thought, and that shifted some big amount of energy, because there are times when people don't want to receive. You may not, like, on a daily basis, I'm talking about, like, you may not be interacting with someone necessarily, and somebody asking for help and you contributing to them, but there is this entity world who are ever ready to receive, or we get whenever we get a sense we can contribute, even in the middle of the night or in the morning. That is amazing. That's totally different, that I was not aware before I did the Talk to this class, for sure.
Yeah, and so the thing is, once you have learned how to clear entities and communicate with them, they will keep showing up very dynamically, and sometimes it can get really overwhelming, So you can just, if you're not in the mood at that moment or you're very sleepy, you can just ask them to move and move a certain distance away from you and your house and your family, and ask them to come to you during your business hours. So then they honor that, and you have to really honor your business hours, because that really starts creating dynamically too.
True. Avani had it.
Yeah, Avni, I think you have a question. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
How to sense them, and how to be aware.
So that is what we teach in the class. The Talk to the Entity class is about that, about you to start perceiving, how to recognize so the class will have all entity awareness signs. How do you get to know that there are entities around, and how can you sense them? Everybody has their own different entity awareness signs. So we'll be talking a lot about that and how to clear them and all. It's like it's a 2.5-day class. So it's very, very informative. You'll be learning about different types of entities. You'll be learning about psychic attacks, how to deal with it, how to save yourself from that. You'll be learning about black magic and how to save yourself from that, and how to deal with something like that. You'll be learning about portals. Certain people have portals where a portal is where entities, just no matter how many times you clear entities, they'll still keep showing up. There'll be lots and lots and lots of entities just coming in from that space. So certain people can be portals, certain places can be portals. So it's about recognizing and clearing that. So all that information is taught in the class.
It is a paranormal subject,
Yeah, to the paranormal subject.
but people have their own fears, no?
Yeah,
Just like horror movies.
so how to deal with those fears, how to overcome those fears. There are clearings, there are so many things. We'll be teaching about all of that in
Okay.
the class. But it's like a nice, very comprehensive manual with a lot of clearings, a lot of information, and one of my favorite topics.
Okay.
Awesome. Yes, Avni, you have a question?
Yeah, hi Smriti.
Hi.
I wanted to ask you that as Swami mentioned earlier that he used to be scared of ghosts and darkness and he never watches horror movies. So yesterday I was watching a horror movie and I got this perspective that after coming to Access and doing the foundation, I have realized that there is nothing to worry or fear about entities. They are just like other beings just without bodies, and they can be contributive and all that stuff. But when I was watching this movie, a thought came across my mind that what if something like all of us are aware of entities at some or the other level. So what if we attract some non-contributive entity? Like I understand that whatever frequency we are vibrating, that's what we'll be creating that kind of reality, whatever thoughts, feelings,
But
emotions we
but
are
when
at.
you attend the class, you then know how to clear entities, right? So even if you do
Yeah.
attempt anything, you can clear them.
Okay. So that's what my question was, that we get to know better, right? That which are different kinds of entities, which are contributive, which are not.
Yeah, yeah. So you get to
Yeah.
learn different. There are lots of variety of entities and how which ones are like each one has specific characteristics that you'll be able to recognize and how to clear them each individually. You'll learn all about that.
Smriti, this can be an interesting point of view, but I have heard that ignorance is bliss. So if we attend this class and we become more aware and we are knowing for the fact, we can recognize what kind of character is there around us. um I know that there in Access there is nothing disempowering, but does that really sort your life out, or you just create more chaos and mess around yourself?
When you're talking about ignorance of bliss, it is bliss still. But the thing is, if there are still certain entities there creating havoc in your life, wouldn't it be better for you to just know how to deal with them or to sort it out? Why would you want to keep suffering constantly and not clearing them or doing whatever is required? Now, when you have the information, what will you do? You'll just know what's required and you can just go ahead and create more ease in your life, right?
Yeah.
Now, as I mentioned earlier, you're the most powerful. So the more you recognize that about yourself, and the more you say that to yourself, and the more you choose to be everything you are, no entity can harm you, right?
Yeah.
And when you are in your total power, no entity can just create issues for you too. So
Yeah.
start recognizing all of that, and that does not come. That comes from having total awareness about entities and not from ignorance. Like I gave you that first example when I had to deal with that eunuch. Any other time, I've been really fearful of those guys, and that's why I don't even open my car window that much. Not even enough for them to be able to push the hand in. So because I used to be very skeptical and scared of them. But the thing is, that day when I dealt with that particular eunuch, he was really mean and nasty, and he was like doing whatever he could to intimidate me, like a very demonic energy. And just because I had the tools, I was able to deal with it.
Yeah.
Any other time, I would have got scared. I would have handed over all my money. I don't know what I would have done, but I would have been like scared, right? So
Yeah.
when you have the tools, when you have that knowledge and awareness, then you know how to outcreate people and situations and things. And you don't have to be the effect of others. It's like, what Gary says, like whatever you've decided is wrong and bad. Like when you look at the clearing statement, right and wrong, good and bad, when you look at whatever is wrong and bad and you don't want to deal with it, you just push it to one side. And then you wear blinders, like race horses wear blinders, like this is bad, I don't want to deal with it. So let's take, for example, if you've decided manipulation is bad, so you'll push it to one side and you'll be like, I don't want to deal with manipulation, it's so bad, I don't want to have anything to do with that. So I'm just going to wear blinders and I'm not going to look at it also. But then when people manipulate you, you have no idea. You just get manipulated because you're not familiar with that energy, right? I'm not saying you have to go about manipulating people, but you have to be willing to be every energy required to be able to outcreate situations. So if you're aware of manipulation and what it creates, then you will know when other people are manipulating you, and then you have a choice whether to be the effect of it or to just outcreate that. So if you cut off things, ignorance is not really bliss. They say that, but ignorance is also inviting people to just walk over you and take advantage.
Yeah.
And be the effect of other people's insanities also at times. So knowledge is empowering in every aspect. Yeah. So
Thank you so much. Yeah. And one more question I had, Smriti, that if we are like talk to the entities has lot of levels, right? Beginner and intermediate and advanced. So are any of these or all of these prereqs to some other classes or something like that?
Okay, so talk to the entities intro and beginning are you can use that to renew your BARS facilitator's license or the body process facilitator and AFF licenses. So you can use that to renew your licenses. I think this is the cheapest actually in all the renewal classes. This is the cheapest. Secondly, even the talk to the entity intermediate is something that you can use to renew your licenses. So it is not a prereq for anything, but it can be used to renew some licenses.
All right.
It's a separate, it's something totally different, right? But I'm telling you how much this gifts. Like, hey, this class really keeps, it's like continuously gifting to you.
Yes. Thanks a lot.
Can I share something on the line when the question that
go
I
ahead.
asked? Because that was the exact point of view that I had, that if I don't have to deal with them, like I have not dealt with them for so long, I had rather not deal with them at all. So, so let's not read this book. Let's not ever go attend this class. I think that was the same point of view that I was operating from. However, what shifted for me was to know that like being in an intro class, like I mean it's for you, like and for others, like you being even attracted to this topic and coming to this can also be an indication that you are ready right now to receive this information, to be empowered. I mean that is what it was for me. I'm just sharing from my experience. Oh my God, acha. So because I never looked me choosing a class from this perspective, that I am ready for certain thing, and all of this are also showing up because now I'm ready to receive and give from them in a different way. Like earlier, I would avoid anything to do with entities. Like even cousins, when we get together, they would share their experiences. I would say, keep me out of this. Let me go out and then share. And so I'm just sharing, like, and
also,
then shifted everything.
Also, whatever you run away from is where you have the maximum capacity.
That's
so,
another.
So that when like most people are, oh no, I'm so scared of entities. How can I even attend this class? I can't think of it. They are the ones who are so dynamically aware and they have such amazing capacity to actually be able to facilitate them. So yeah, that's interesting actually. Whatever you run away from is what you have the most maximum capacity with. And so somebody has asked a question. There are Akashic records which stores all our past life. And they say that by accessing it, one gets to see the root cause and then the issue gets resolved. Wondering if entities are modus operandi of the same.
Of the karma theory.
Of the karma theory. Okay, that's interesting. No, they are not. They're not modus operandi of the karma theory. It is just something that you're aware of. There are these beings which, when they die, they don't even know that they're dead. So, like, for example, they are dead, they don't have a body anymore, but they think that they're still alive and they're sitting in the room, in their house and on the sofa, and they're busy watching TV, they're leading their life the way they want to. And then suddenly they'll see one whole family shift into their house and sit on the same sofa where they are sitting on. And they're like, hold on, who the hell are you guys? But those guys cannot see them because they can't see you because you don't have a body anymore. And so that's when, when you talk about haunted houses, this is what happens. So when you become present with them and you tell them, hey, you don't have a body anymore, and, you can facilitate them, is when they make the choice to leave. But otherwise, they'll keep getting irritated and bugged, and they'll be like, hold on, what the hell is this? So that's what it's all about. I don't think there is any modus operandi or anything. It is just the way it is. There are entities out here in the world. Sometimes we invite them into our bodies because we are being pathetic. So when we say, please, somebody help me, not a good idea, because we end up inviting entities who then sort of try to take over our body. So when you're empowered, when you are choosing you, no matter and how dynamically you're choosing you, is when you become aware of this and you clear it. And also, when you come across people who are not really creating anything, they're just like whiling away time. Nothing seems to be working for them, whether they're just creating all sorts of issues. When you start clearing entities, when you start clearing demons, there is so much that starts shifting for you. It's like beautiful how that, how drastically things can shift for you. It's like, a lot of people think, oh gosh, okay, this is what my life is all about, and nothing I do will ever change this. But no, you have a choice every single moment. So yeah, that's what it's about. It has got nothing to do with Akashic records and stuff. Right. Is there any other message? Cool. So I think we are done. Anybody else have any other questions? Or yes, go ahead, Rashi, go ahead.
Thank you, Swamiji.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
While you were facilitating, Avni, it just clicked me that I did the intro of entities class almost 6 years back and I completely forgot about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to know, is it something called mediumship? Like in the other healing world, alternate healing world, we call something called mediumship, where you communicate with another person and their entities, things like that. So is it mediumship is what this class is all about?
No, this is not really mediumship. For mediumship, you have to invite those entities into your body and channel it. This is not like that. This is becoming aware. It's like downloads of information you will get, which you think will be just making up in your own mind, but that's what it is. So you don't get the entity into your body to channel anything or for anybody. This is just something you're just passing on a message. So, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Cool. You have a couple of classes lined up in various cities. So
yes, I have a class which I'm leaving for tomorrow in Ahmedabad. I'm so looking forward to that class because every class just creates so much and there's so much that shows up. So Ahmedabad tomorrow, 24th to 26th. And then there is another class coming up in Pune from 1st to 3rd May. And all these classes are also available online, but in person is in Pune next week, 1st to 3rd May. And tomorrow onwards, it's in Ahmedabad. So,
how much is the price and
okay, so the talks to the entity. This is the last time it will be offered at this pricing because soon the pricing are going to increase. So right now it is for 1,12,000. And those of you who are repeating within 24 months, it's for 78,500. And yeah, so that's what I think after 13th May, the pricing will increase. As of now, they have not yet given us the exact new pricing for the talk to the entities, but like Access, even talk to the entity just increases the pricing accordingly. So if you're really looking at choosing this class, now the time before the pricing increases. So yeah.
So there's, I think there's an intro for 2 hours and then there is an entire Yeah.
So it's like a 2-hour intro and then 2 full days of class. Total 12 to 14 hours of class was there.
Okay,
And
thank you.
yeah. And so, like, I mean, there are times, Avni, I'll just come to you. I knew you had a question. I'll just get to you. I mean, there are retreats that I create which have really created so much, because when you're out on those retreats, there are so much that starts showing up. Like, it's like we'll do a wildlife safari and entities. And I just recently created a talk to the entities at Fort in Jaipur. I can't tell you how beautiful that was, because now I mean, there is something that you need to sort out in that land. That's what gets you invited over there. And there's so much that comes up. There are some things from your past that you need to clear. Some past lifetimes sometimes shows up for people. It is just so beautiful how this class starts opening up things. It's not just like, oh, I've read about the entity. This is the manual. I'm going to read the manual. I'll tell you this is this. It's not just that. There is just so much more that start showing up for you guys individually. It's like also tapping into your spaces and trying to see where you're stuck and what needs to change. There's a lot of things that will start opening up. Yes, Avni, you had a question?
Smriti, you mentioned that, whenever we get these entity awareness, it feels like we are making things up in our mind. So, when we say we communicate with the entities, is that also like something that comes as a thought form in our mind?
So I'm not going to tell you all that. That's part of the
Okay,
class.
all right.
That's
Okay,
part of the
sorry.
class.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry about that.
I've already given away a lot of the class here, but yeah, what will it take for you guys to show up, choose these classes and show up? And there's so much to discover. And what will it take for you guys to start discovering different nuances to yourself? Like, what are the things that are either keeping you stuck, and what are the capacities that you have with a lot of things that you haven't even explored? So that's what is an invitation for you, each one of you, to choose these classes and see what opens up. Yes, Rashi.
My last question.
Yes.
Is there hand holding for maybe a certain period of time once we
Yeah,
we
definitely. If you've attended classes with me, I'm always there for you guys. All the
okay.
time. Yeah. So like anytime you're stuck or whatever, anytime, not an issue at all. I mean, you can go through the manual after the class. If there are any questions, just reach out. So yeah, that is not an issue at all.
There's also a question in the chat by Ranjan.
Yes, what?
Does this help to release them from this world?
Of course. Of course. What do you think? I mean, a lot of them don't even know that they don't have a body anymore. So when you are releasing them, you are enabling a choice. They get to choose a different life for themselves. They get to make a different choice for themselves, and they don't need to be stuck in just trying to talk to people who are just looking through them. And then they're just so feeling so bad and confused, and they're wondering why nobody is acknowledging our presence. It's where they get to actually start choosing so much more. You are actually facilitating them. That's why they keep gifting to you. And literally, it can be that simple. Like, I was reading the Talk to the Entity book, and there was this lady so Shannon was looking at hiring a house, and there's this broker who was showing her the house, and then she's like, hey, there are these extra rooms which you can, maybe entities can stay there. And so Shannon just said, not unless they pay me. She just said it just like that. And literally, she found a emerald and diamond ring on the kitchen countertop. And then she gave it to that broker. She's like, hey, looks like you forgot your ring here. She's like, oh, that's not my ring. So then Shannon picked it up and she took it. And she's like, wow, that was fast. Like, literally that fast she just received from her. So create a class in Nagpur too. Sure, Rashi. If you have more people there, I'd love to be there anytime. You can reach out to me. Or at this moment, you can just choose to either come to Ahmedabad or to Pune and just go ahead and choose the class. Or you can also choose these classes online. Otherwise, after May, I'm happy to travel to Nagpur too. I mean, if I'm willing to go to every city. So cool. Thank you so much, each one of you. And thank you for being here. I'm so grateful for each one of you. And I hope to see you for any of these classes. And any questions, just reach out to me.
Thank you.
Or if you have questions for the class in Pune, Swami is hosting me. Just reach out to him and he'll be able to guide you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Each
Thank you,
one of you.
Smriti. Thank you, Swami.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Swami. Bye.
Thank you, Swamiji.